Now we're celebrating AmaZulu and African pride as we mark 144 years since the Battle of Isandlwana. The 22nd of January 1879 saw the first engagement between British soldiers and AmaZulu warriors. Armed with spears and shields, King Cetshwayo Kampande's army wiped out the heavily armed British force. It was a humiliating defeat for the English in their first attempt to invade Zululand. Isandlwana music producer Mbuso Khoza says this battle is a story of pride for the continent of Africa. He says it marked a new era for black people and their colonizers. To tell us more, the very man joins us this morning. Thank you very much for your time this morning. And for those like myself who are not a part of the Zulu culture, but rather from Limpopo, perhaps you could give us the importance of acknowledging this part of the Zulu history that will be celebrating 144 years.
Thank you so much for having me and your viewers. This is a very important history that took place in 1879, where the Zulu nation, under the leadership of Nyamana Rangangelele, who was a prime minister, who is a father to Umatolo, Umpandunda. Umpandunda is a father to Tufango. So he was a prime minister and an overall commander of the battle. And Mbuso Khoza was the commander of the battlefield. So this battle put to an end a Napoleonic dynasty, because the Prince Imperial, who was the son of Napoleon, came and joined with the English army, and then he died around here where I'm standing during this battle. And this battle confirms that if we can achieve a unity of purpose as a nation, there's nothing that can stop us.
That heritage that was built during that altercation between the British soldiers and the Zulu warriors over 100 years ago, have you found that that legacy, that unity has been carried through the decades, or have you found it's been somewhat forgotten as the decades have gone past?
I think days like this will really help us, to try to reinstill that, because that unity of purpose is long gone. People are thinking about tenders before they do things that will take their community forward. So it's a problem, because if you read history and you listen to those who live with those who at the Battle of Isandlwana, they say the older men, they went straight to their household and called everyone and said, if we do not come back from this battle, please take over. Even Omafuwa said the heirs, they assumed these positions at home because they were ready to die. But today, each time we are about to do something meaningful, let's say a child is being raped and you don't want to help, you would rather form an organization that will give you money in order to help. If we can go back to that community-based Ubuntu and cohesiveness, I think the Battle of Isandlwana would have achieved what it did in 1879.
And I want to get into that a little bit more, especially when it comes to the youth. But before we get into the performance that you will be hosting around that battle, have you found that the youth engage this history well enough, understand it, and try to live it out in the current days of the violence that you've just spoken about, the crime that you've just spoken about through corruption? Are young people interested at all?
The problem is with us older people. We do not make time to sit and have logical discussions with our youth, with our kids at home. It's all about go to school. When you are done, make money, and then this is why we are so redundant, at this age. Or, what my intervention would be to say, let us try to host maybe these public lectures, and talk about this topic throughout the year. But the problem is that we wait for the budget to do this. Okay, Africa Day, everyone is going to look colorful and they feel they are Africans. After that, they're going to consume, Western cultures. So my challenge is that if we fail to claim the spiritual treasures of those who come before us, we shall be terminated in everything that we do.
And I suppose this is where your one-man show, if you'll allow me to call it that, is very important, and people being exposed to it. You will be having a monologue in the form of a show with different melodies. Tell us a little bit about that, and really what kind of work went into you putting it together.
I think it was checking a distinction between history, culture, and tradition. History being a recorder of events or an intervention to safeguard. Later cultures are born from these histories. But these cultures can't be practiced forever because of evolution. Later, we have what we call heritage. This is why I'm wearing like this, because to me, it's a commemoration of what those who came before us did. But it's not a daily thing. So I thought to myself, if we fail to instrumentalize music whilst we are doing this storytelling, we shall fail, because that's how the church won. Churches, they sing and they preach at the same time. So I felt, let me come up with a theater piece that is called the Isandlwana lecture, that will try to articulate this in a manner that anyone can really consume their culture on a daily basis. So 24th of February
up to the 26th of February will be at State Theatre. On the 18th of February, we'll be having an Isandlwana walk from Vilakazi Street, and then we'll go via Uphefen. Uphefen is a restaurant of Mbuso. And then we go straight to Dube Village. Dube Village is the name of Induna of King Mbuso. When they moved after the colonial times, they went to look for jobs in Gauteng. And then Dube being Induna was honored and destroyed with Dube Village and so on. So we are going to try and unpack this slowly until we get to King Mshweshwe, Sikukuni, so that all our cultures, they become a symbol, a subject of consumption.
And of course, as you mentioned very briefly in your response there, the role of music will be quite important in this monologue, in that it is able to bridge instances of the past as well as the present and the future. But quite importantly, it stands on the platform in that the Zulu culture was huge on preventing instances of segregation. That unity was very important, and so music and the melodies will play quite an important role in showcasing that platform.
That's very true. I love the part of unity and being against segregation. We had cultures like Caesar. You know, when someone is having a second for a party, the community would say, Mbuso Khoza, maybe it doesn't have help. Let's give him one each of us so that he can start to have his own livestock. So there was this unity, and this culture of the show off was not part of who we are. And now the music became a natural remedy in all the situations. Whether it's a funeral, there is music called amahubo. Uhubo serves as a family scroll and as a prayer of the nation. So now when we are doing this song, we are actually also safeguarding and also recording the music and the history. If even we check the recent history of the modern struggle, when they say, Mandela, immediately you will be interested into knowing what happened, and then a song becomes a thesis.